we have seen and acknowledged the progress and the emancipation that women are beginning to enjoy now with regards to quality inclusion and decision making in terms of politics and business and all. But because we know that before now, women didn't have the right to vote, not even to talk of coming out to say they want to become a president or something. So now, will you actually say that this progress or shift that we have been noticing, is it satisfactory enough?
It's not, because the people in the position of privilege are fighting to keep their privileges, and we are struggling, coming from a disadvantaged position, to struggle to reclaim spaces. It's difficult. So we have to have in mind that nobody is going to give it to us. We have to continue to struggle and fight for it and take it as much as we can at a time and never give up.
Now let us begin our conversation today, taking our quote first from Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, a Nigerian-American economist. She's the first female, first African Director General of the World Trade Organization since March 1st, 2021 till date. She once said, "If you have a sense of purpose that drives you, then aim high and become a leader and make room as you go." Absolutely spot on. All right, our next quote is from Lima Bowie, a Liberian peace activist responsible for leading a women's non-violent peace movement, Women of Liberia Mass Action for Peace, that helped bring an end to the Second Liberian Civil War in 2003. She once said, "Don't wait for a Gandhi. Don't wait for a king. Don't wait for a Mandela. You are your own Mandela. You are your own Gandhi. You are your own king." I love this one. All right, our next quote is from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, a Liberian politician who served as the 24th president of Liberia from 2006 to 2018. Sirleaf was the first elected female head of state in Africa. She once said, "The size of your dreams must always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. If your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough." I agree. Very, very wonderfully and absolutely spot on quote we just took right now. But now let's see how all of this relates to what we will be discussing today. Very warm greetings and welcome to the conversation. We're reaching you from Captain's Television Studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. My name is Annabelle Oji. Now, women are gradually making their leadership presence felt in entrepreneurship, administration, politics, education, engineering, health, tech, and even in the home front, both at the regional, national, and global level. Women are now resolved to break the traditional glass ceiling that barred them from entering leadership positions, even if they possess requisite skills, education, and talent to occupy them. Women are constantly evolving and reaching new milestones across a wide spectrum of human activities in modern times. The world has witnessed the advent of women leaders such as the Hillary Rodham Clinton. You have Indra Nooyi, Oprah Winfrey, Theresa May, Christine Lagarde, even our very own Professor Dora Akunyili, Folorunsho Alakija, just to mention a few of them. Now, like they say, a leader is a person who influences and encourages a group of people to work towards the realization of goals. The hallmark of leadership is the capacity to influence others towards accomplishing goals and towards betterment. So any institution, whether it is society or organization in the present century, cannot and will not function effectively without women's equal participation in leadership activities. Women create a perspective that brings from competition and collaboration to organization and teams. Yes, you will remember I said so. Now on the show today, I have the pleasure of speaking with two beautiful ladies who are doing well in their various leadership positions. Joining us here in the studio is Dorothy Nuhu Aken'ova. She's Nigeria's 2023 Presidential Aspirant for Social Democratic Party. And then joining us virtually via Skype is Her Imperial Royal and Spiritual Majesty, Empress Dr. Elham Madani, head of Empire of Madani of Wales, United Kingdom. Now this is The Conversation, and I will be your host. See you shortly. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you just joined us, you're right on time for the interview. Our guest on the show this morning is Dorothy Nuhu Aken'ova. She was a presidential aspirant for SDP, so we'll definitely get to find out what exactly happened along that line. Great to have you on the show, ma'am.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you again.
It's a pleasure to have you. All right, definitely we'll be talking to Empress Dr. Elham Madani virtually via Skype, but she's not able to join us right now because of the time difference. But we'll definitely get her later on the show. All right, before we get started, let's talk about your presidential aspiration or dreams. What happened all of a sudden? A lot of people were rooting for you, and then later all of a sudden we found out that you could not make it through, and then you had to leave. So for the benefit of those that does not understand, but they were rooting for you, what happened along the line?
Well, there's a lot that happens along the line, ultimately for women in politics. I think that the zoning, however subtle that strategy was for parties, mattered a lot, because it was important for parties to position themselves in such a way that they have possibility of running successfully in 2023. And so every party was looking at the other party to see where the ticket was going, so that they know where to throw theirs. That's one. So the SDP was zoning the ticket towards the southern states.
Okay.
The second thing is the fact that all parties were afraid of doing something new. They thought that fielding a female candidate would automatically take them out of the race. As a matter of fact, they don't even see a chance if they have a deputy or a vice. And that is why, of course, we do not have any vice towards 2023 that is a woman. And it's because people are afraid to try something new. People think that it is not worth the experiment. You know, so all of those factors are there. And finally, is that of financial resources, because eventually it does cost a lot of money for people to campaign, you know, and do all the things that are required after the primaries. And parties are interested in seeing how much people have and if they are capable, you know, of sustaining, especially this time around, the long period of campaign that we have. And so financial resources also matter. So all of those things put together resulted in the painful decision to step down from the race.
So it actually affected your party, SDP. I actually thought they said they were like all-inclusive.
Well, you know, now I know that it is just lip service. Because there is no way a woman with all the aspirants that we had would not have emerged as a candidate in one of the parties, or at least two. And CVs are there for us to check. Some of us who are aspiring have had very impactful lives, much more impactful than some of the men that are now running for the office of the president. You know, so I believe that it is just lip service all over again. We can't even have the courage to have a vice president that is female. It's very shameful and very disappointing. All the gimmicks that go on to ensure that that doesn't happen start by giving people hope and making people think that we are all inclusive, and then we put strategies and processes in place that are hostile
even
towards
when they
the
give
other
you
gender.
when they even give you the opportunity, let's say probably they make the tickets or the nomination forms affordable, or even reduce, or make it free.
Yeah,
it is still paying lip service.
it is still paying lip service, because you discover that the form itself is very minute funds that go into it compared to the other expenses that you need to undertake, you know, to emerge as a candidate. And it's just the way the party system has been structured and the processes. And we saw a lot of it, you know, just being thrown into our face with the way let's say merchandisation of the delegates role, you know, happened. How many women have the kind of money that it takes to do the kind of things people are doing with delegates, you know. It's a whole sphere of politics on its own. And until we are able to make our democracy affordable for all, then we are likely to just have this repeat itself over and over and over again. Because people are saying, why would I sponsor you? If I have the money, I would rather just sponsor myself. You know, so you see that kind of thing. And sometimes the courage to just say, I aspire to run for this office is a good measure stick to say that this person really has it or does not have it, you know. So thinking that they have the money and so they could run is not it at all. There is more to running a country than having money in a personal bank account.
Oh, okay. Now let's stay on where you just landed. Now, with regards to finances, what are the major challenges that women face in Nigeria with regards to funding for a capital-intensive project, and how can they actually mitigate this kind of or the risk that are involved in them? Because I'm sure, like when you were aspiring to become president, like you talked about, someone they would ask you, who is bankrolling you, and do you have a godfather of some sort? So how do we mitigate such risk for women?
I think that as women, we just need to coalesce around one another a lot more, and then we need to put pressure on the system to make elections affordable to all. Because there are countries who have done it. I was listening the other day to what happens in Singapore, and I was very surprised. Like, everybody can run for every position. They just screen people through interviews and, you know, series of screening about what you've done, what you have to offer, and then people are left to make their choice. And then there are layers in the process that may not be necessary, that are just introduced, you know. And sometimes here we have those processes that we are not true to, like the screening process. If you have screened somebody and that person qualifies, you know, in all credentials to run, why do we make it difficult for them to emerge? Because they don't have a fat bank account, you know. So we need to work harder, lobby
As
the
women.
parties, so that parties can help mobilize resources, support the candidate who is actually the best. And you know that if we have the best, it doesn't matter in what skin the person comes. The people will listen, and they will fall in sync with the vision and the dream of that candidate. And that is all we need to push Nigeria forward. And so for women, like I said, we need to do lots of advocacy still to make sure that Nigerian democracy is made affordable, and we need to still work with the parties to make sure that they are true to the processes, that integrity continues to play a role in what the processes are scheduled to do.
Okay, so now because you talked about advocacy, we'll definitely come back to that. Now, how women, we know that they are always more at the risk of social vices in the society and sexual harassment. So how can a woman overcome this ill treatment, especially from the society at large?
Well, we do have a law, you know, the VAP, Violence Against Person Prohibition Act, that has been passed. We have other protective policies in all manner of spaces. The important thing also is to get the party manifestos and make sure that they have clauses against sexual harassment. The fact that a woman has come to seek public office does not mean she's seeking sexual overtures, you know. So people have to have that in mind. And I also believe that once the statement is made clear by what we say and our body language, it soon, you know, rings home.
That's from the woman?
People, from the woman.
Okay.
It rings home to everyone else around that this person is not up for games, you know. And we need to make that statement frequently and clearer and bold until such a time where people have assimilated and have internalized the fact that they could not be sexualizing our bodies in all the spaces that we enter, because that, of course, is an infringement on the bodily rights and our rights to dignity.
Okay.
So a lot of education is required on the policies and the laws that we have on ground. And then we need to introduce policies, especially within the party structures, so that these sort of practices are even made punishable, you know. So, and then finally, we need to make that statement that we are not to be sexualized by being in politics.
So then how were you able to deal with all of the rejection and the ego problems of men and your kind of profession, especially in politics? Because I know that they're always there. You always see them always have this ego-centric.
Yeah, they have a kind of sense of entitlement. You know, they feel they own the space, and they can actually be condescending when they're speaking to you, and sometimes just flagrantly do not hold up to their commitments and promises. So what happens in spaces like that is for us to just distinguish ourselves by staying true to our principles, to our ethics, to our standards, to our beliefs, so that in a way we can rub off on one or two people.
So even when the man tells you you're meant for the other room, you just have to stay true to your own principles.
Yes, by making it clear to the person that I'm a presidential aspirant and not
a candidate for the other room.
No. You know, when we are out there, we are running for offices, you know, to serve the nation. We are not there because we need a sex partner or need a husband. We know where to go if we want those. But that is certainly not the space where to do that.
All right, now because you talked about advocacy, now let's talk about networking. How important is networking for especially African women generally who wants to attain political leadership positions, now be it either at the local, the subnational or the national level, even at the global stage? How important is this? Because you find out that it is more easier for a man to network, especially when they go to the lounge, they go to go for a golf course, go to a party. They can just, even at the airplane, they could just chill and then talk to themselves. And one big business is, they've struck one big business. So how important is it for women to, how sacrosanct is it for them to network?
It's
because like I said, for men, it's not easy for them.
Yeah, it's important for both men and women. Making it easy for men is one thing. We stay in a society that is patriarchal. And so children, even at the age of 11 and 12, you see boys, they enjoy the spaces, the opportunities, the rights, you know, that women, even at 25, 30, do not have the opportunity to enjoy. So what we need to do is to check the system and see where there are barriers that infringe on women's a right to access to opportunities, to spaces that are forever closing and shutting down on us, so that we can pursue in advocacy and empowerment for women to infiltrate those places, reclaim their spaces, and make sure that they count in those spaces. It's important that women, even among ourselves, we network. Fortunately, I just came from a meeting that is sub-regional, and it is a feminist network that had a meeting on how we can come together to ensure that we work together towards social change. because we have in mind the kind of world we want to see, equal opportunities and all. And that has not worked despite all the effort we're making. But there have been little gains. If we continue at this pace, then definitely in another decade, we would have really made a mark. And so it's important. We can't look down on networking at any point at all.
Yes, I know that you're actually, sorry to cut in there, I know that you're a feminist, but then there's this mentality that women don't always like to support other women. And then you had also in politics, and then you have some women who, and then you just begin to ask when they have few votes, some who come out with one vote, and then you begin to ask, what happened? Where are your other women that were rooting for you before now?
Well, there are invisible powers at play. Some women may have to toy the line of their husbands because they would want to have a home to go back to, and they don't want the children to be snatched away from them when they are kicked out. Some may say, hey, I don't mind, you could divorce me, it's fine. But they have little kids and they may not be allowed to go away with those children. You know, so it's a whole kind of power play and shift in power balance game that exists out there that infringes on the rights of women to self-determine and be capable of making choices that are right for them. The invisible power is there, and we call it invisible because it's not all the time that you can pinpoint it or where it is, you know, and sometimes it is not shouting out. But from upbringing, we've been socialized to think in a certain way. Our minds have been framed in certain ways. And when people say that women don't support one another, they are just pushing a myth to make us hate one another. My sister Annabelle, I'm sitting here with you, and it's about the second or the third time. You know, if you didn't support what I was doing, you wouldn't bring me on this platform. And there are other platforms that I have enjoyed simply because there were women there who support other women. And it also makes it sound as if men always support men, but that is not true. It is okay to disagree. I've always said that. We don't always have to agree on everything at all times. That is not a true society.
Okay.
We can disagree. We can have healthy competition, you know, and that is fine. But there are bottom lines where we must support one another, and women are supporting one another.
All right, great. It's actually good that we're able to draw out that agreement there. All right, now drawing from where you talked about, where our mind have been settled right from growing up. Now we know that in Nigeria and in Africa generally, we hold our cultural values in high esteem. Now there are the laws and there are the social norms. Now the law says everyone is equal and have equal rights. But then the social norm on the flip side says that men are supposed to be the breadwinner. Men are supposed to inherit the family business after the death of the father or the head of the house. And that women are not supposed to talk when men are talking. It actually happens in a lot of societies, especially in the eastern part of the country. Now we see that a lot of people have actually lost so much opportunity with regards to that. So how do we break that jinx? Because it's been there over time. We grew up with that mentality. How do you now break that kind of jinx to tell that woman that regardless, yes, we know we are not trying to fight for it, but we are not trying to compete with the men?
What is wrong with competing? We always can compete, but it should be healthy competition.
Also, competition is okay?
It's okay, but it has to be healthy. My sister has triplets, and she pitches them up, you know, and says, you know, you have to come first. And they're in the same class. So how do they come first if they all don't compete, even among themselves as triplets? Competition is fine. I want to be the best among my siblings does not mean I won't support my other siblings to be their best. So it's okay to have healthy competition, you know. And what we can do for women and with women is to continue to work, to continue to educate, to continue to challenge all the spaces that close up on us when we want to rise. It is deliberate, it is patriarchal, because that is the ugly part of the competition, where one gender wants to continue to lord it over the other, despite the fact that they do not have everything it takes or much more than the other gender has. So we have what it takes, and we should be given the opportunity, to express it. We have the potential, so we should have all the opportunities to experience the things that we need to experience. We shouldn't have the lockdown. And we have had progress. You must agree with me that changes have occurred. From when my mother was a young woman to now, there have been a lot of changes.
As if you actually know what I was going to ask you next. I was going to ask if, as we have seen and acknowledged the progress and the emancipation that women are beginning to enjoy now with regards to quality inclusion and decision-making in terms of politics and business and all, but because we know that before now, women didn't have the right to vote, not even to talk of coming out to say they want to become a president or something. So now, will you actually say that this progress or shift that we have been noticing, is it satisfactory enough
It's
for
not,
you?
because the people in the position of privilege are fighting to keep their privileges. And we are struggling, coming from a disadvantaged position, to struggle to reclaim spaces. It's difficult. So we have to have in mind that nobody is going to give it to us. We have to continue to struggle and fight for it and take it as much as we can at a time and never give up. And we should be preparing younger people to take the baton from us when it is time for us to be on the sidelines. It's like a football game where the World Cup bearer is competing with an underdog team, and then there is a partial referee, who is supporting the other side because they come from the same stock. It makes it extremely difficult for the underdog team to beat that other cup, the team that has the cup. And so they have to struggle like double struggle. And that is the position that we are in. Our effort has to be more than double so that we can inch in, at every given opportunity. The pushback is strong, is fierce, is
Really
hostile.
strong.
Imagine that the House of Assembly had the audacity to throw out a gender appropriation bill. That is like with no apology. And then they are thinking of contesting the ruling by the Supreme Court, that gave the 35 affirmative action to women. That is so audacious, like they're throwing it right back in our face.
Then how do you actually fight back, bearing in mind that we still live in a patriarchal society? And then you talked about the House of Rep members. They're still there, but even though we have the he for she's, but you still have the Operation Pull Her Down, the PhD is there. So how do you fight against those kind of people?
It's just a day at a time. We are not where we are because people just said, because there is hostility and pushback, so let's just maintain. No. We are where we are today as women because there were people like Sarah Jibril who said, yes, even though I will put the single vote I have for myself and the whole world can vote for themselves, I will stand, I will do it, and I still have dignity, it doesn't matter. And she did it once and twice and thrice, So we have to keep at it. We cannot, because they are still in the House of Assembly, say, it's the same people, so what? So we push, because we want a change. And change will not come if we don't work it. So we have to work at it. We have to work hard at it. Because the people at the position of privilege will not want to relinquish their privileges. You have to really know how to wrench it out of their fists, Yeah.
All right, now let's not forget to talk about the WWDs, that's the women with disabilities. Any kind of disability, could be mental, could be financial, physical, or even the widows. Because we already know that they, in one way or the other, they don't have a voice. So how do you give such women who are actually watching us right now, who have they want to go into any kind of position, be it in tech and science and banking, business, or even journalism? How do you give those kind of people a voice, irrespective of whatever challenges they're going through?
Okay, so the first thing is to tell the women that they have a voice. We all have voices. Our voices may be suppressed by the powers that be. So it's important, first of all, to know that you have a voice. No one gives you a voice. It's your entitlement. Once you are born human, You are born with a voice. You are born with a right, with rights. And that's important to acknowledge. Now, what we can do to amplify these voices is to continue to create platforms for these voices to find expression.
Okay.
Yesterday at the meeting, I just spoke about the Feminist Forum for the Sub-Region 1. We had a woman with disability, who had contested for elections. And she spoke to us about her experiences and all, how she can't even access certain places because she's, in the wheelchair, and then to go out and campaign and all of that sometimes can be challenging. Like, how does she navigate a market, on the wheelchair and so on. So we can create spaces for persons with disabilities. We can create opportunities for them so that together we can strengthen their drive and push for spaces, including politics and economics and technology and all. Those days are gone where people thought, oh, this disability is enough for you to deal with. How come you are going to grab more? We challenged all of those things, in the early 90s, and we've successfully brought the women and the men with disabilities out so that they can do all the struggles that they need to do and self-actualize.
All right, even as we begin to round up, our time is fast spent. Now, do you ever see a woman becoming a president of Nigeria?
Yes.
Anytime soon?
Yes, and yes. I believe that, I believe in miracles. And of course, I know that miracles also need work on our part. But you've done the work. Now, if you have other women who, you talked about giving out the baton. Yes.
Like, if you have another woman who wants to continue from where you stopped to take up the baton.
Yeah.
So how do you actually push that kind of woman? We've seen it happen in countries like Tanzania. But in Nigeria, it doesn't look as if that future is bleak.
No. In Tanzania, I will tell you that, things just happened and things happened and she happened. So sometimes it is not like the powers that be are working towards it. But it gets to a point where the realization hits that, we really have to do something drastically different, and there will be somebody at the right time to just step in, and I expect that to happen in our lifetime.
Okay.
How did Obama come on board? A minority African American, and he became president. He was there at the right time. You see, so we have to continue to work so that we are not caught napping at the right time. Okay. So that at that very moment, when it is time for the woman to take on the reins of leadership in Nigeria, there will be a woman who is ready. So we can't afford not to stay ready. It's like preparing for when the trumpet shall sound. Somebody has to be ready at that time.
So we're not just voting for her because she's a woman. We're voting for her because she is ready.
She is ready. She is a woman and she's ready.
Great.
Yeah. It's not just because we are biologically defined as women that we are saying give us the opportunity. It is because we know that we have something to give that will change things for the better.
Thank you so much for your time with us, Dorothy Nuhu Aken'ova. It's always a pleasure having these talks with you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the platform that you continue to give women.
Great.
We appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. God bless you.
God bless you too, ma'am. All right, viewers, you've been watching Dorothy Nuhu Aken'ova. She was the presidential aspirant for SDP, and we've been talking about women in politics. So we'll definitely bring Empress Dr. Elham Madani. She is the Empress of the Empire of Madani. She'll be joining us from Vancouver virtually via Skype. We'll see you later. Don't move a muscle. We'll be right back. I'm sure you must have come across some kind of naysayers. How were you able to overcome such people?
Well, it's always like that. It's always like that. Is from the childhood when some fathers calling husband call their wife in front of the children, hey, you're silly, you don't know what you can do. Or the father call the daughter, hey, you don't know what you are doing. Look at my son, look at your brother. It's a society habit.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now, if you just joined us, you've missed out on the first segment of the show. But now we have joining us virtually via Skype from Vancouver. We have Her Imperial Majesty, Dr. Elham Madani. She is the Empress of the Empire of Madani. It's great to have you on the show today.
Very welcome, very welcome. By the grace of God, we are happy to have you, Kaftan TV, again.
Same here, likewise. Happy to have you again.
Thank you.
All right, now, so tell us, what are the challenges that you have faced being a leader or the Empress of the Empire of Madani, so that we can get people who want to go into any kind of leadership position, so that they can actually learn from your experiences? What kind of challenges have you gone through?
Well, it's a lot, but if I want to say as the first top elements is that people do not believe in their own power. When the local people don't see the power of manifestation in themselves, then it's hard for them to believe that there is a lady, there is an empress, or there is a man, or there is a lead that can guide them. So lack of the faith in the average population, I believe, is the first challenges. So because the society try to divide people, the good people and the bad people somehow. So this division create a mess, and they don't know what they are doing. They don't know what they want. They are all around without a goal in their mind, to be focused to what they want to do. If they would be more focused, then they could see the real authorities that are here. They are real to assist them. But without joining together, one hand does not have the sound. Okay, so that is the most important. The lack of the faith in themselves that they are able to do that, to do the good things. If they believe their own power, then they can believe still there are some great people that are experienced. They have the power of manifestation with the power of the God that can assist them. They are with them. The other problem is that they think that leaders are trying to get the things away from them. That is not true, I believe. The leaders, many of them, are sacrificing a lot, their own life, their own happiness, their own tranquility, because they are responsible to guide and take the hands of the people they have the passion to assist.
All right, so have you ever gotten to that moment where you ask yourself, am I actually doing the right thing, or am I actually in the right space? And at that moment, how were you able to overcome that kind of thought from your mind?
Honestly, yes. And people know that I am super honest, so I'm answering yes a lot. Because when I say that, well, God, I'm doing this for the people, why they are not seeing it? Why they cannot absorb it? Why they are not together for this to make it happen sooner and easier? That moment, of course, is happening to me. Shall I do it? Shall I do it? Again, less than maybe a day, I get back and say, let's do it. Let's do it without them or with them. Still, there is some people that need me. Do it for them. So the responsibility, even if it is one person, even it is one pet or one animal, take me to discourage that, Empress, go back. Those people, those creature needs you. And those moments I'm calling God, my heart, even with tears on my eyes, but I call God, and God is merciful. God is everything. Yes, it happened.
I can imagine. Now let's talk about one of those challenges that affect or confronting a female or women in leadership, which with regards to funding, especially trying to fund for capital intensive projects. Now we know that if it's were the men, they have ways they can draw up funds from each other or get funds from anywhere. But for your kind of person, who when you're a female, how are you able to overcome that challenge of getting funds, especially when you have your people coming to meet you to ask for one project or one favor or the other? How do you get funds to be able to work out a solution to their own problems?
Well, when it comes to the funds, my ambassadors, we are non-stop creating projects for people to be involved and to invest. But by now, getting funds from the people was extremely hard. Some investors wanted to put us in kind of condition that we are not very happy with that. So the only funds we can say we achieved was the governmental funds, not the grants, loan with a high interest. That was the only source of funds that we could be able to achieve. So mostly 80% of the funding is by me, because I have to do it. I have to prove to people that here we are real, we are doing it. And 20% was with the loan with the high interest from the government.
Oh wow!
Because of the NGO you get, it's not for personal. Because of NGO, we are doing that. But even for NGO, that is non-governmental organization, there are many people who can donate, but they don't know. They don't know the real or not real. Where is the real sources to come and donate? And if they want to come, they look at it with a kind of delay. Then I am not a fan of delay in the world, move forward. So that's the fact that we couldn't get the funds from direct person.
So even for all those community social responsibilities, you might have to go through loans?
There are some grants, but
Okay.
the dedicated people that are acknowledged about how to get a grant from the government, they have to apply. Well, when ambassadors are usually coming, they are not very professional. They are like a trainee. They want to be trained, and then they want to apply. So this category cannot really go to the deep to the source and get the funds and grants. Of course, there is a lot, but experienced volunteers and ambassadors, of course, and delegates are really, really needed to manifest this matter.
All right. Now, in every career path, mentorship is highly critical. Now there are the thoughts that most African countries, they lack real-time mentors or books that people can actually read, that women who are intending to go into leadership positions can actually read or look up. So now, kindly intimate us on the importance of mentorship, role model for women who are aspiring to go into leadership positions.
Well, when we say women, I was just thinking why we say women. So now I'm saying something different than anyone else on the world, I believe. It was just God brought it to me that women means we, the men, we, the men. So in each woman, there is a man. I believe that there is no difference between man and the woman. So in that matter, it's better that society to understand that we are equal. we are equal. I don't say that, okay, feminism theory is going to be on the priority. No, we can say we are equal. And actually, the women population, majority of them, look at around you, look at your mother, look at your sister, look at your daughter. I'm talking to the people that they are much into the detail. From the childhood, they want to take care of the home, and this home can be community. This community can be the country, can be the state, can be the world. So it's good time to give the opportunity of creation by the women for the whole world. We need to understand that women are able of to do a lot of things, even much better than men, because we the women are not putting the assignment down, because we the women are the mothers, and mothers never want anything bad happen to the children. So if we the women take responsibility, we take it to the end. We want the best for our own community, state, organization, government, and the country if we have the opportunity to be the top leader.
All right, now let's talk about the importance of social media. Now we know that a lot of people are daunted by the algorithm of social media, be it Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all. But then there are the good sides of social media, virtual, like COVID-19 came in, and then we all knew how to make use of virtual meetings, and that's why we're having this conversation. So how can women use or enjoy the importance of social media?
Well, social media always was there, but the majority of the people were using it that is not appropriate. For example, they used to see many channels that were not enough good for them to run their own wealth or to earn enough income for the family. During the corona virus period, that moment was the responsibility of the family to learn more about social media, influence of social media, and people started to learn new techniques and new skills, and to communicate with world, to see that, okay, which part of the world is now affected, and then to take care of themselves and their family, not to travel, and to know how to spend less economically, to be more awareness of their expenses. So I believe still we can continue the same way, supposingly that maybe something going to happen soon after, and it's better that still we learn a lot of skills. Right now, people cannot rely on only knowing one techniques. I mean, doctor cannot be even the doctor anymore. Doctor need to even to be the teacher. Teacher need to be even be the farmer, because the natural disaster and anything might happen that take them from their own career to another thing. So it's better that we use the social media to learn the new techniques, also to communicate with the world and build a universal family. That's very important. Instead of just watching something that is just for a spare time, like young ladies going to watch the makeup brands or how to make themselves more beautiful. They are beautiful. I mean, naturally, everyone is beautiful without the makeup, because the beauty is not from the face, it's from the heart, it's from the soul. So instead of spending on the dresses or on the shoes, on the brand that nowadays is very common, oh, I want to have Versace, I want to have Chanel, I want to have this and that, it's better to build a style of your own with whatever you have at your home, your office.
Okay.
It's better to spend less, but spend more on your brain to make it a new brain, a new modern way of yourself, of who you are, to approach the world with a new voice of who you are.
All right, now, how were you able to overcome naysayers? Because we know that they are always there. Now, you have, when men actually want to win a contract or want to get something, and they're actually called bold, they're called courageous. But when the woman wants to do the same thing, she's called silly, she's called being aggressive, and all kind of names. So I'm sure you must have come across some kind of naysayers. How were you able to overcome such people?
Well, it's always like that. It's always like that. Is from their childhood, when some fathers calling husband call their wife in front of the children, hey, you're silly, you don't know what you can do. Or the father call the daughter, hey, you don't know what you are doing, look at my son, look at your brother. Is a society habit. From their childhood, they hammer the female newborn even baby. They used to put them on death road. You get the point. They used to destroy the newborn baby girl. So from the childhood, from many society, it is rooted. It is rooted. But now I see that many families are trying to totally change the road to way that, okay, there is no difference between woman and the man. In my family, I give the responsibility both to them. Me, myself, when I get a child, a boy or woman or a girl, I give the responsibility, the same responsibility to both. Then I put them on the trial. So it is them to see that how they are going to make it happen. So give that opportunity to both. Let's try them. Sometimes even women want to be the engineer, the captain, the pilot. And we are seeing that nowadays there are many pilot women in the world. There are many leaders. There are many queens. Look at Canada, the queen. We don't have like king. We had Canada, Queen Elizabeth. So wasn't she be able to run this whole country of England and 54 countries that she's been assigned as the queen? Of course, they were not scared of her. They were kind of liking her. Look at the current crime that in UK, I don't believe there's that much, but look at the crime ratio in many countries that the men are the leader. Yes, we women have the passion and have the emotion, but we are using that passion and emotion to the direction that is good for our own family. Again, family goes be bigger to become community become bigger to be a state, and then a state to the country. So let's give the women the opportunity to make the big thing happen. Yes, they can do that.
All right, then you talked about empowering women. You talked about education, that women should actually invest in educating themselves, their brains. Now, if we talk about education, you have some women who would go all out to get educated, either be it the formal education or the informal education or professional education, some getting their masters, their doctorates and all. But then you find out that some of them, they just, after getting that certification or experience or qualification, they just dump it at one side and then trying to face their marriage or their family or children. Now, at that point, how are you able to draw the line between, okay, yes, I am a mom, I'm a wife, and I'm a boss. So definitely if I go out to get my education, I should remember that I have a certificate in something, but then I should be able to draw the line between family and my education.
Are you asking about how the women can do that, or asking about what is going to happen after they graduated from school?
Yes, what is going to happen? Because you have some of them who just dump that education and then decide to go all out for family. So after that education, what next?
First of all, a woman or a young girl, when she's going to the school, after graduation, she's going to the college or directly to university, what is her aim to go to the university? She has to ask herself, because she's not enough mature that time. So maybe the family need to guide her. Maybe the mentors in the school need to guide her. Why do you want to study in this field? This is the first question it should be asked. Why do you want to study in this city? Because the city totally is changing the spirit of that young woman. If she come, for example, from Nigeria to Canada, to Vancouver, for example, she's not going to go back to Nigeria with the same lady that she was before. She's going to be westernized. She's going to learn many things. So she's going to be changed. So she's going to be more open-minded. Now this woman wants to go and marry with one of the fellow members or lover in Nigeria. For sure, she has now different voices, because perhaps she has spent a lot in other country and she was independent in another country. Now she want to go back and build a family. Do you think that she's going to put the certificate or degree aside? Well, if she does that, either it can be because of the force or sacrifice or the love. But there are still some people don't want to do that. So it's better them to be clear with their future husband that, listen, I have done this much in my life. I suffered this much in my life to be independent, to run my life alone. So it's not fair for me to put my degree aside. You and me can build a better financial situation for each other, for the family. Of course, in some certain situation, they have to do it because, for example, if they become pregnant, then to get the child to the nursery room house is going to be more expensive. It's not rational. And the child also needs to have the compassion of the mother during the early age. So, of course, in those type of moment, it's better to think again that, well, I might be able to put the degree or certificate right now on the jewel box, but focusing on training my child at least to become to the eligible age that he or she doesn't need me. So rethinking always is important. We cannot do one thing all the time at the same time. We have to decide what is right in that specific moment. But I really don't suggest the women go to the school, postgraduated school, and then after that put the degree aside. Is not representable. Government is supporting them the way that supporting to the young man or boy is not fair. We ruin the money and the funds that government giving for us to be educated, and then we put the degree aside because, well, I want to get married. Well, you can get married. Who said you don't get married? Get married, but work on what you learn in your life.
Okay.
Even if you cannot in a specific time go and work for others, at least you can be a mentor at your home. You can have some neighbors come in and enjoy you for free, even for free, but use that skills. For example, I want to say that we are trying to bring some beautiful, gold-hearted, gold-brained, the talent from overseas, from Africa here, to study here. We want to create some kind of like educational way for them to mingle the society of the Africa with Canada, because as you know, Canada blacklisted Nigeria. I myself have a problem to bring this beautiful, because they're asking why you put your finger in Nigeria, why you put your finger in Africa, why not America, why not that? Then I say, I love Africa. Africa is my home. So allow me to bring these students and study them with you. So when I want to do that as a woman, well, of course, I need expertise to come with me and make the visa easier for this beautiful African. We have a great goal, like World Cinema Academy can give them the opportunity to study. They can study English, they can study. It's not for me, it's not for us. I am just creator of many things. We want to help Africa, but Africa, are you hearing my voice? Are you hearing the voice of so much women that want to assist you? We are together. That's the matter. That's the first question. We are not apart. We are together. We are the family. That's the most important things. And women are so important right now.
All right. So now, even as we begin to round up, now give us just 2 reasons why the world needs a woman or more women in the leadership space.
Well, the simple answer is that the ratio of the men at the position, any position, is much more than the women right now. Even if we give them 50% right now more responsibility and bring more women on the ruling position, on the good position, still we are in lack of having enough women. Simple as that for example, for 2 years they are getting the leaves for going to the taking care of the babies and the pregnancy. At least any woman going to have that kind of period. So always we have 2 years, 3 years lack of the one woman at the position. So if we give them more opportunity to another, it's going to be at least like 50%. We are in lack of the woman on the right position. So we need to have them. And the other thing is that because actually it's not bad to some countries because the wage, the minimum payment to the ladies always is less in majority of the countries. So it's not bad it's going to actually economically being better for the government, because if they give less to the ladies, then the government has more wealth to spend on the SDG goals of their own country or communication with other countries or the necessities of their own countries. So it's not bad to bring more women on the ruling position.
Okay. There's always that argument.
Let's give it a try.
There's always that argument of equal work but yet less pay. You have the same job but then the women get lesser pay.
No,
Thank you
actually,
so much.
it's more. It's more. We, the women, actually sometimes working more because we designed to tolerate. We designed to tolerate more difficulties. What the men are doing, they are like a how can I say, fast speed machine. Have you seen the rabbit and the turtle? I'm not saying that women are turtle, not at all, but just as an example, I bring it to you that usually men are athletic. They are tall. Their muscle cannot tolerate the duration. The duration of the time is not designed for the man body, even for the brain. They are just thinking about one thing at the same time. But women are opposite. Women are tinier, more petite, more fragile, so they can tolerate. When they can tolerate, they maybe, according to the man philosophy, maybe women are working less, but it's not less, it's continuous. That's important thing, that we don't let the things drop down. We take it again like an ant. We take it again. We do it again. That's important.
Thank you so much for your time with us. It's been a wonderful time talking to you, Empress Dr. Elham Madani, the Empress of the Empire of Madani. It's been a wonderful time having this discussion with you again.
Sorry, we had a lot of the difficulties in the video today, but I hope that people can enjoy and communicate with Kaftan TV. You are such a wonderful team, and every time we are with you, we enjoy your hospitality, even on the station or virtual kind of communication. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Canada, Vancouver.
All right, great. Definitely. All right, viewers, that's all we can take. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have been chatting with Empress Dr. Elham Madani. She is the Empress rather of the head of the Empire of Madani. And we also had a chat earlier with Dorothy Nuhu Aken'ova, who is the presidential aspirant for SDP, the Social Democratic Party. And it's been a wonderful time here on The Conversation. Whatever you do, ensure that as a man, you are he for she, and as a woman, you are always rooting for the woman and looking for ways to put her up. And when you are up as a woman, try as much as possible to lift other people up. Like they say, we rise by lifting others. I'll see you again next time. From the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Annabelle Oji. God bless Nigeria.